going on year 2 here as the head coach, and do you feel like what I would say, what has probably been the biggest takeaway from year 1 that you're ready to apply and get going with in year 2 now here?
Well, the biggest takeaway in the positive is that that our freshman class and our younger guys have really come along fast. The second leading tackler in the league was a freshman. The number one leading tackler in the league was a sophomore. The young guys are really understanding and what we want to do. The older guys are a lot of junior college transfers and things like that who wanted to come be a part of it. And now after a year, they've learned from where they were, and now they've become Lions. And I feel like we coming before the break, we were practicing well and having great workouts and really moving in the right direction. Football is really about getting 100 people on the same page, and it takes some time to do that.
Has it been just a lot of Zoom calls like this, just to stay in contact with the team and make sure everyone's doing their part just to stay, active and still try to get ready for the next season?
I'd say it's a lot. I feel like Bill Murray in the movie Groundhog Day. It's a lot of the similar conversations because while really nothing new's happening. I mean, we call them and how are you doing? Are you on top of your academics? Did you get the workout? Received it? Did you do it? Awesome. Love you. Talk to you the next call. And you do that 100 times. As a head coach, you're used to talking to the team and getting one message. There are times when I'll call a guy and be like, "Oh man, I forgot to say this," or and you try to do it all together. You do have to be really good at listening. I'd say listening is really, really important because as you do it multiple times, you can hear different tones in their voice that means that they're really doing okay, or yeah, coach, I'm good, but they really want to tell you more. So you have to know when you can listen and move on, and when you need to say, are you sure? What's going on with you?
No, that's exactly how I feel. When you FaceTime and you call family members, it's like really not much new to talk about. But something that is new or possibly can be new is this upcoming season. I mean, are there any early thoughts as far as the quarterback situation? I know Dwayne Lawson saw some time at wide receiver. Is he going to get back on the saddle for quarterback? What's that looking like?
Well, I think the best for Dwayne is for him to totally focus on wide receiver. I think he has the ability to be an incredible wide receiver. One of the problems with a guy as talented as Dwayne is that you do too much with him. You don't let him focus on something and become a master at it. And I think for him, it's going to be best that he focuses on wide receiver. And we will have a quarterback battle. We have 5 quarterbacks on campus when we return in the fall, and we'll give them the opportunity to compete. And I think we'll have a fun offense. And we're going to have to count on. I think our running back is a strong position. We have really athletic running backs, and we could probably go 3-4 deep at that position. And those guys can do multiple things, from returning kicks to catching the ball out of the backfield to running it. The key for our success will be the development of our offensive lines and defensive lines. And that does hurt us about the weight room, is we were making significant gains in that area. But we have to get bigger and stronger.
And switching gears a little bit, I know when I spoke with the MIAA Commissioner Mike Racy, he was saying that a lot of the schools, they're preparing for the season to start on time. So where might you stand with that? What do you think is probably next for you and your team?
Well, as a coach, I think you're supposed to prepare for all scenarios. So, I'm prepared for the good and the bad. If the season starts on time, that's easy. This is something that we've done for 26 years, and I've been head coach for 13 years. So we start on time. That's the easy part. What the hard parts are, I've heard rumors that because we've lost spring ball, that they may add some dates to practices at the beginning. So how do you add? Usually the practices we have are sufficient to get us where we're going to go. Now you add those practices in. How do you do that without creating injury, but you want and keep your guys interested and continue to develop them? Also, how much earlier do you bring them in for and the costs involved in those types of things, the different scenarios that may come if we start late, how do we approach that? I would tell you that we can get ready for a game. All right. So it doesn't matter when they start us, we'll be ready. The question is if they don't start us and we start doing things like, going in the spring or how do we react to all those things?
And Coach, I have to ask, have you been watching the Last Dance documentary? Because when you talk about the offensive line bulking up, and we saw Michael bulking up to take on the Pistons, and so have you been keeping track of that documentary?
I don't care what sport you are. If you aren't watching that, you should lose your scholarship and your job. I mean, and I think administrators should watch it, to be honest, because now you're starting to see, Nick Saban has a great quote. Okay, high achievers don't understand mediocre people, and mediocre people don't understand high achievers. We're not talking about participating in the sport. We're talking about winning championships in the sport. And you can see the dedication, the work ethic, the commitment. Last night they talked about after they lost to the Detroit Pistons, typically you go back and everybody goes on vacation for a little while. Michael Jordan had them in the weight room, and said, we're going to do this. Michael Jordan was demanding of his teammates. I tweeted 2 quotes last night that I thought are 100% correct if you want to win a championship. All right. The greatest compliment you can give a great player is to coach him hard. And every time I gave him a number, I knew he would do more. If I gave him 6 reps, he'd do 12. That's what champions do. But I think you can also see that not everybody's wired the same way. And sometimes it takes the right people to push the people's buttons to get them where they need to go. I love sports because it's about achieving and becoming something special. One last thing is that I think people need to understand to be great. Okay, the quote I sent the other day, I think you'll like this one. Greatness and madness are next door neighbors, and sometimes they borrow each other's sugar. Well, to me, the reason Dennis Rodman was so wild off the court is because of who he was on the court. He doesn't have a governor. There's certain speeds he runs at. And I think sometimes people, you want someone to be a pit bull on the field, but then you want them to be a lap dog in the house. And it just doesn't work like that.